Hey, I'm back. So I had a good 0 day in Irwin. Just did a lot of nothing really. Slept quite a bit, napped a little extra in the middle of the day. Really just rested and recuperated and ate some real food, you know, instead of some kind of bars and you know, cold ramen and dehydrated vegetables and things like that. So yeah, I had some nice breakfast, eggs and ham and pancakes, and I had some dinner. I can't remember what I had at all. It'll come to me. Anyway, it was good, and I really just started a few minutes ago. Come straight out of Beauty Spot Gap, and immediately you got quite a climb. So that's what I'm on now. But, you know, who knows for how long, but I feel great. You know, my legs don't feel worn out. My feet don't hurt like they did. So that little time off did me wonders. Probably should have taken it a day or two earlier if I could have. So, only one concerning thing I'll show you here in just a second. The shuttle back to the trailhead just a few minutes ago dropped me off, and guess what I immediately saw? This. So, I'm moving a little bit slow right now. I'm really watching everything. Yeah, that was just sitting right by the side of the road. And I actually don't believe it was there when I got dropped off, but just a minute or two later, after I got everything organized and my pack on, it had come out of the grass, so I don't know. But it got my attention fast. Not sure exactly what kind of rattlesnake it was. Possibly a timber. The timber rattlesnakes that we have at home in Oklahoma are much smaller. At least the ones I've always seen. I can identify those easily, but I think it probably was a timber. I'll just have to look into what they look like when they're much bigger. The markings are a little different, but it doesn't look like, you know, any of the Diamondbacks I've ever seen or anything, so I don't know. Something to keep in my head though. Watch and listen for, pay attention, because those things are out there. Of course I knew that anyway, but it drives it home when you see one so close. All right, having a hard time talking and walking. Later. In some places in here, it's really hard to tell even where the path is. You know, you can sort of tell, like maybe where there are more roots. It's been worn down to the roots. And then they have blazes marked a little more often in here than some other places, just because, you know, you might just wander right off there. Like, that looks like it could be the path, and so does that, and so does that. And immediately into a different area. I have not seen these anywhere, I don't think. Walking through the hallway of Christmas trees. I don't know, I keep having this thought in my head to get up early and start hiking really at the crack of dawn, you know, almost when it's still dark out. And just hike until, you know, 10 or maybe 11, probably more like 11. Stop when it gets hot. You know, find a good shady spot in a gap or in a shelter, and just hang out, take a nap, eat, just relax, you know, do things like dry my tent out or edit videos or do something. And then when it cools off a little, I don't know, say 2 or so, then maybe jump on the trail again and hike into the evening, you know, hike till 7 each night instead of, you know, 4:30 or 5. So I think I'll probably be more efficient that way. The only problem with that plan is that I haven't been able to get myself up at 5 o'clock yet. I wake up around 6 or 6:15 and I think, oh, I could lay around another 15 minutes. And so I've got to get to bed early and just make myself get up if I'm going to follow that plan. So we'll see. I have thoughts of maybe doing that tomorrow. There's a really good chance it won't happen. It's been a really good morning. Still feel pretty strong on my feet, feel really good from having that day off. So, and you know, and from taking a bit of a short day yesterday. So I'm glad I chose to do that. It's been a really quiet morning. Seeing almost no wildlife, just very quiet. I don't even hear birds right today much at all. Lots of spider webs still, always. Bugs are down. It's been pretty windy until just recently here. So I think that's kind of kept the bugs away, which has been nice. I am heading towards, probably the last quarter of my hiking day today will get me into Roan Highlands. The Roan Highlands. I don't know a lot about that area, but I know it's it's supposed to be beautiful. It's a big known place on the AT. So I'm looking really forward to that. Obviously, to get to the Roan Highlands, I'm going to have to climb a bit later today. So maybe in an hour or so, I'll start hitting that and climb for quite a while. So that'll be fun. And then I'll just do some descent, the last quarter of the day to find a good campsite and some water and stuff. And then beyond that, where I'm heading, in the next couple, well, it should be probably 3 days. We'll have to see how strong I am. Oh, looks like I'm hitting a shelter here. I don't see it. It must be a little off the trail, but here's a sign. Shelter, so won't be stopping there though. Anyway, heading, I left Irwin yesterday morning and I'm heading towards Hampton, Tennessee. So I don't know that I've officially like actually left North Carolina for good, but I'm really close to that area where, I'm out of North Carolina. I've been skirting North Carolina and Tennessee since I got into the Smokies, really since I started down here. And so really starting to head north, getting out of North Carolina, cutting up through that corner of Tennessee to Virginia. So I'll go to Hampton and not take a zero, I hope. That's not my plan. Just try to get in and out of town and resupply, maybe recharge and stuff. And possibly have one good meal there. And then get back on the trail and try to do some good miles that day. And then, not long after, just maybe another 4 days after that, I will cross over into Virginia. And then shortly into the town of Damascus. So it's kind of exciting to be, moving into Tennessee for good and then shortly moving, into Virginia, kind of picking off the states. So Rowan Highlands, here I come. Almost 3 hours in, and my first views of the day. Whew, oh, that is straight down. Very nice. Almost stepped on this guy. Come on, buddy, get a move on. I've been climbing for quite a while now today, and getting close to 6,000 feet, which is, you know, way up there with some of the highest points on the AT, and definitely trails looking different. I can see light, so it looks like I'm getting close to the top here. Got some foliage up here that looks totally different. Well, this is just coming right off the trail now, and wow, looks a lot different than what I was just hiking through there in the video just, 2 minutes ago or 30 seconds ago or whatever. Interesting. Wow, so, I guess if you're interested enough, you can try to pause that and read some of that stuff. But apparently right here on this knoll in the 1800s there was a hotel, the Cloudland Hotel. It straddled the Tennessee-North Carolina state line, so apparently that's right here. And yeah, interesting. That's a picture of it right there. I mean, that's quite the thing to be built up here. How in the world they got that up here, I don't know. Fascinating. There's probably some remnants somewhere. But well, I got off the trail just a little bit, explored some of the extra stuff that was around, and I just came from the Cloudland Hotel site. That little piece of wood right there says the Appalachian Trail, so that's where I need to go back to. But this is what I found over here. It's like a whole, I mean, who knew? I thought I was in the middle of nowhere. It sure looked like it hiking up, but this is just, you know, a few hundred feet away from the trail, and then you come right up here. There's like a major, whoa, it's like a major road out there, and some kind of toll booth you can pay to come into the park, and I don't know, anyway, so. But there's trash over here, so I'm gonna go dump some trash. That'll be nice, get rid of that weight, and there's even bathrooms, so I doubt they're open, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Well, unfortunately, the restrooms are not open, but I did get to unload some trash, look around a little bit, see a couple views. Nothing too much, it was kind of hard to see much, but anyway, I'm back on the trail now. I think that the shelter, the Roan High Knob shelter, is just really, really close here. So try to find that if I can figure out which one of these paths is actually the AT. It looks like, I don't know, maybe over here. We'll figure it out. Well, I'm on the trail. I took a little bit of a break. Sat down for quite a while, actually, an hour. Dozed off a little, had some lunch, took my shoes off, let my feet rest, so feeling really good. But anyway, I'm here to the shelter entrance to Roan High Knob Shelter, and this is quite the interesting entrance. I've not seen a hike into a shelter like this before. Somebody put some real effort into digging through here. Wow. So this is the Roan High Knob shelter. Has a door and everything. Not seen one like this before. Has a loft upstairs. How cool. So this is the highest shelter on the entire Appalachian Trail. And yeah, wow, this is really dynamite. So anyway, I am up here really just to see it, and I love how that goes out over the top, and that's a loft up there. Boy, you get a lot of people in there. Anyway, really just wanted to see it, and then I need to grab some water that's close here, and then I'm on my way. So this shelter is almost at 6,200 feet, so it's pretty darn high for the AT. And I wonder, you know, the style that it's built in, how old the logs look and stuff. I wonder, I really do some research. I would bet it's one of the older shelters on the trail as well. You know, maybe, I mean, who knows? Maybe it wasn't even built as a shelter to begin with, you know, but just more of a cabin for somebody or something. I don't know. Anyway, it sure doesn't look like any of the other shelters on the trail. So, also, it's the only place that I've seen these signs. So, they, if you stay here, you need to stay in the cabin. You don't camp. They don't want you collecting firewood, all that kind of stuff. So, interesting. Anyway, back on the trail.
Why are you telling me to now?
So that was Carver's Gap. There's so many people right there, though I don't want to talk a bunch and video a whole bunch. But anyway, just came out of Carver's Gap and Grand Central Station, as you can see. Of course, like always, the trails are always really cool and nice and wide and, you know, smooth and all that around these areas. And as soon as you get a little distance further than most people hike, then it goes back to just a dirt path, you know. So anyway, another few miles to camp. Well, I'm just coming out of Carver's Gap now and going up a little. There should be a couple of pretty cool bald mountains up here with some views and stuff. So I just got to the top of the first bald here, and you can see it's quite a view. Went around and back behind me, I believe that's Roan that I just climbed and just came down. Obviously I came from there and then back on beyond, so really gorgeous out there though. He's going forever, and I think I'm going up that next one. Well, this is a trail that quite a bit of the public travel on, I guess, over these bald mountains, and so I don't know, they're not marked as the Appalachian Trail very well. It was at the entry point, way back there, but there's all these little side trails and stuff, so I'm assuming this is the main trail. It goes way up there. You can probably even see people on it, and then there's a few little tiny dots up there at the top that are people, so I sure hope I hike this whole thing that it's the AT. Oh, there's a white blaze, finally. Always happens right after I start questioning it. Yay, well that's going to be a cool hike over there. Alright, it's the second bald. Up here a little higher, and I believe, I'm not quite sure, I believe I'm just going to go through here. You can see those folks going up there. I think I'm going to go up, not to the, probably not all the way up to the very top of that, but just up here and over, and then camp somewhere down the other side. So I'll be over there soon enough.